How's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to the start of the weekend. We made it to a Friday here, September 20th, 2024. 11:21 a.m. here, California time. Latest activity here on the globe shows a 1.0 earthquake there across the northern California region. That is the latest quake there on the globe. Southern California seeing a little bit of earthquake activity down here on the Puente Hills Thrust fault this morning. With a 0.8 and a more recent 2.3 earthquake. Again, that's just on the Puente Hills Thrust fault where we've stirred up quite a few nerves out here with the recent earthquake activity. This is just the past 30 days. We would have to go back the past, a little bit more than that, probably about the past 5 weeks here in this area, and there would be quite a bit more earthquake activity, including that I believe it was a 4.4 earthquake or 4.7 that struck here just beyond the 30-day threshold. So we're not seeing all the earthquake activity that's occurring there. But a little bit more activity today after a couple days of quietness. And again, that's on the Puente Hills Thrust fault. That's capable of producing a 7.5 earthquake. Around 7.5 is maximum. And there's been a number of them in the last 11,000 years, with a little uncertainty onto when the last one actually struck there. It looks like reoccurrence intervals run between about 2 to every 4,000 years, I believe, somewhere around there, but a little uncertain on to the exact date when the last one occurred out there. Either way, a little bit of earthquake activity there today, also around Corona, 1.6 around the Home Gardens area. That's a little bit further south. So we are noticing a slight increase in earthquake activity out here today. Nothing above 2.5 yet, but some of these areas are starting to fill in, like Bakersfield, Puente Hills Thrust fault, which runs underneath downtown Los Angeles, and a handful of other areas down south here showing some uptick. So we'll keep an eye there on Southern California, as always. And further up north, minimal movement at best. Looks like a couple smaller earthquakes here along the, which section is this? The creeping segment. Of course, the creeping section here of the San Andreas Fault showing a little bit of activity as well. Northern California, fairly quiet. One earthquake underneath Lake Almanor for 2.1 from yesterday. Pacific Northwest, relatively quiet. And as you can see across the rest of the western U.S. here, fairly uneventful today. Texas area still seeing a handful of earthquakes outside of Midland here. We pull up all magnitudes, brings up a 2.1 and a 3.1 here in this area outside of Midland, hitting some of the oil fields here in the Permian Basin. A lot of oil fields out there, oil pads. Rest of the country pretty quiet. Looking at the last 24 hours of earthquake activity out here shows us the largest magnitude of a 5.2 here into the Tonga Trench earlier this morning, about 4 o'clock this morning here, my time. Nothing big. Almost always common to see some 5-pointers out here. Yesterday wasn't all that extreme either in terms of earthquake activity. Might start picking up here. Obviously, we go through a little period of quietness, followed up by a ramping up of quakes. Notice the deeper quakes here into the Tonga Trench. Fairly recent. USGS not reporting, or are they reporting these? Yes, they are. A couple of those deeper quakes there. 377, 390 miles here into the subduction zone. So deeper activity being triggered in this region. We'll keep an eye on this area as obviously it's shown a little bit of adjustment here today. New Zealand, nothing major going on. A little older 3.1 there, North Island from yesterday. Region of around the Solomon Islands area seeing some earthquake activity as well from yesterday and today. More recently, looks to be a 4.7. Excuse me, that's actually around the... let me see here. I guess that is out there around the Papua New Guinea area, just outside the Solomon Islands here, around the Solomon Sea. 44 miles deep into this subduction zone that sits right here. Further up north, quieter conditions here today. A lot of older activity from yesterday. Latest earthquake here, Philippines, a 3.7 coming in to the area right now. And Mediterranean region, 2s and 3s appear to be the story out there today. Nothing major. Atlantic Ocean, quiet once again. And typical activity, 2s and 3s, and even some 4s out there across the Middle America Trench, southward into the Peru-Chile Trench there. Looks like a recent 3.1 down there as well. So overall, no major movement today, but obviously plates are always in motion out here. Kilauea Volcano, what do we got up here around Mauna Kea? That's fairly deep, though, 15 miles deep underneath this area for a 3-pointer this morning. Let me check out the latest informational statement here on the USGS side of things for today. And this update is put out today, it looks like, 9:20. The eruption near the crater area in the Middle East Rift Zone appears to be waning as of 6 a.m. Eruptive tremor in this area has decreased over the past couple hours, it looks like. Looks like the imagery here of those lava falls, that was pretty awesome. I'll show you a picture here in a second, is starting to solidify and crusted over. So it appears as though things may be starting to wind down here across the area. No new videos today or pictures today. This is one of the images from yesterday here of the eruptive fissure, but it could be a short-lived event. I mean, it's been going here for a couple days in different segments. Started off over here a little bit further to the west and worked its way more eastward to the current location where the lava falls into the crater area has taken place. But even that area sounds like it's starting to diminish a little bit in terms of the activity. So, like any other event out here, they can come and go in a blink of an eye. The eruptive activity is down here. Not, let's see what we got for any seismograph station nearby. I guess this one here is going to be the closest one. Not seeing a whole lot of earthquake activity associated with this event right now. Now, obviously, an amount of volume of magma has been released from the area below to create these lava fields. And wondering if that's enough. Maybe put a temporary band-aid there on the fissure activity. We'll have to watch this over the next couple weeks here. See if things don't start getting a little bit more intense in terms of the inflation out here. But I don't know. Let me check out the summit area deformation. Starting to go back up here a little bit in the last day. There's our most recent magma intrusion event from the summit off to the Middle East Rift Zone, where we're seeing the current fissure activity, or we have been seeing the current fissure activity. Had been. So yeah, just one of those things we got to watch. For now, just some earthquake activity here across the area, mainly deeper regions around the Pahala area. Anything else major going on out here, folks? Again, keep an eye on California. Not a whole lot of uptick, but we're, these little areas here. Bakersfield, where we're seeing that 5-pointer. Puente Hills Thrust fault that seems to have woken up here recently, shown some activity today as well, 2.3. And a couple of various areas out here in Southern Cal. So things could definitely kick up at any time. So stay on guard on this Friday. Space weather activity, getting a whole lot of nothingness going on right now. We do have a number of sunspots that are currently facing the Earth. 3825 right over here has almost, oh man, it's degrading super fast here. This is the area that produced the X-flare and large explosion back when it was around this position here. And of course the aurora events that kicked up here a few nights back. And that's degraded. We're left with not a whole lot of interesting sunspot activity here in terms of potential flaring. So somewhat quiet. I don't expect any of these to produce any major flaring out here for now. There is a couple active regions way out there on the eastern limb that will be here in the coming days. We've seen that on the far side map here of the sun. That's going to be these areas right here. This is about a day behind. 3806, 3808, 3811. These active regions here are fairly large in terms of sunspot coverage on the far side of the sun. This is the far side. These will begin to crest over here across the eastern limb in the coming days. But for now, we'll just deal with a little bit of quietness. Flare threat dropping to about 10%, M flare 45, C flare around 99% chance or so. And no major auroras in the forecast, folks. As far as any close approach asteroids go, really none of these are of any value when it comes to close approach. And I guess that's a good thing, right? Some large asteroids out there, but they're staying considerably at a safe distance there from the Earth. Severe weather at the surface levels. Well, we got a little bit of marginal risk out here today across Oklahoma. Nothing for tornado activity. The main threat appears to be some wind and a little bit of hail threats out there as well in these regions. We'll take a look here at the hurricane potential for Florida. Most of the model runs are in agreement with some type of tropical system forming there in the Gulf of Mexico as we head towards the end of next week. A little uncertain on to how big and the location of this hurricane, if it's even going to be a hurricane, tropical system, will be when it comes to the time frame next week. These GFS models have definitely hinted at some type of tropical system here for many days. So we're getting closer. It's staying consistent in terms of something developing. How big? Who knows? Going to have to watch that pretty closely. What do we got out here across the west coast? I'll take that. A little bit of a low pressure system out there. That's new. See how these models can change in the blink of an eye? This could be gone by tonight. This hurricane could be on a different path by tonight's model or tomorrow night's model in the weather forecasting department. So still a ways out there. A week away. We won't know exact details until probably about 2 to 3 days out. So we'll continue to check on that for any changes there to the path of that tropical system. Nothing going on here for the seismograph stations. Pretty quiet. And again, well, we got is that an older quake? 1031, about an hour old there, into the Izu Trench. Let's go over here and check that out real quick. Yeah, it's going to be this 4.9, 34 miles deep here. Southern end of the Izu Trench. They call this Volcano Islands area of Japan. Prior to that, looks like a little bit of deeper movement there from yesterday. Oh, look at this quake right here. 4.9, 31 miles deep here into that subduction zone. This is the area that they put out a mega quake warning for a few weeks back here because of all that elevated activity back over here, including, I think they had that 7.1 in this area as well. Was it a 7-pointer? I can't remember exactly. But either way, keep an eye on this region, showing a little bit of activity into the deeper areas of this subduction zone today. Enjoy your Friday, folks. We'll be back here a little bit later on for the Friday night update. Stay safe out there, and of course, always be prepared. Don't want to be complacent. Just because it's Friday doesn't mean a big earthquake can't happen. It can happen at any given time. So stay on guard, be safe, and we'll catch you guys later.